Hello everyone and welcome back to the Rines Report. I am joined once again by Sam Montana. We'll be joined shortly by Shiza Manzoor on photography. We are 1 week away from the semester finale. Sam's graduating in a few weeks, so everybody please get excited for him.
Thank you. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
It's almost there, man.
Oh my gosh.
You just gotta stay alive for 16 more days. Then you'll have
then it's okay.
And then you'll have a piece of paper with your name on it.
I know.
that somebody else...
And debt I have to pay in 6 months.
Oh, I was going to say somebody else paid for it, but in reality, you paid like however many thousands of dollars for this piece of paper that says you sat in classrooms for 4 years.
He knows kind of what he's doing, everybody. That's basically
a
what it
little
says.
bit, yeah.
That's what it says.
Yeah, he kind of knows what he's doing. Let's see. We got a few things to talk about today. What's going on in New England? The big question. Sam's brilliant idea. Just bring it up because all that he's been seeing on ESPN. He has cable. I don't have cable. All he's been seeing on ESPN really recently is everybody's talking about New England. The crazy stories coming out of there ever since the Seth Wickersham story came out. So we're gonna touch on that. Dez Bryant was released from the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys fans cried all at one time for the release of Dez Bryant. So we'll talk about that, where he's going to end up, stuff like that. And mock drafts. Sam actually did kind of a mock draft.
I did do a mock draft.
He did a top 10.
I did a top 10
I asked him to do 32.
And I got to 15.
And I never asked him to do anything else except show up.
I got up to 15 and I realized there's no point in doing this past this point.
I'm doing the top 32.
Oh, no, I know you are.
Yeah.
I honestly, though, I also thought about it. I was like, do we really want to go through 2 top 32 lists? I feel like we could just debate the things we disagree on.
Yeah, that's fine.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I understand. But, I don't ask but so much.
Oh, my gosh. Let me play that violin for you, Tristan.
All right, so let's get started. What is going on in New England? That's the big question for today's show. We're probably going to take at least half an hour on just
Probably.
this. We're going to go off on tangents. You just have to understand that it's just the way the things work here.
It's just close to our hearts, people.
Of course it is, because they listen to this podcast, the all 5 of the people, and they wonder why do they not talk about the Patriots every week, right?
Yeah, right. Everybody's like, man, why aren't they talking about the Patriots?
Yeah, because there's nothing going on in New England.
Nothing at all.
Right? No, nothing in the slightest, except everything is going on in New England. This is the most news coverage I've seen coming out of New England in a long time.
Long time.
Yeah.
Probably
since I really started getting into football.
Yeah, same. Since I really started.
Because I'm 20 years old, but I've been watching football since I was 13, 14 years old. And
something like that.
This is my favorite thing in the world. But I haven't seen New England get covered like this. I would always I'm always, whenever growing up, getting into the NFL, I was like, well, I don't ever hear about the Patriots.
Exactly.
And now it's this year, you can't stop hearing about the Patriots.
Well, I think it's because it's just been so stable and successful that it's boring to talk about.
It's very close to the chest. Organization.
Stability's boring for sports news.
Well, it is.
It just is.
Mm-hmm. And ever since the Seth Wickersham story broke, ESPN writer, the tension inside of New England has been a hot topic. Conflicts with Kraft, Bill, and Brady were released following the Jimmy Garoppolo trade. This was in January, I believe.
Yeah, Alex Guerrero.
Oh, yeah, that is wild, too. Almost forgot about that. Ever since then, it's been Gronkowski.
Danny
Amendola, Brady. There's the number of people that have been let go. What we're going to do here is I'm going to break it down per player, and then we're going to talk situationally what the heck is going on with these players, okay? Or coaches, people inside the facility.
Everybody who's important within the facility.
Basically. So we're going to start with Rob Gronkowski. Now, there's been so much conflict with Gronkowski this offseason, surprisingly. Originally it was, okay, I don't know if he's going to play or not. Then it's, okay, people are hearing that he's going to play. Then it's like, oh, he's still pondering it. Now what I saw yesterday was it's a money issue.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem here is he's not having fun anymore. He just isn't having fun anymore. And there's been reports that he hasn't been having fun since last summer, since training camp of last year. He was going into this year.
And this was reported via Bleacher Report. That's where I saw it.
Yeah, that sounds right. But I think it makes sense though. He's been injured so many times that you got to think you got to think how sore he is getting up every morning. How much
he's had arm surgery. He's had multiple back surgeries.
He's messed his knees up several times.
A few times.
A lot of back issues.
He's had a concussion or two as well. The dude, he's been banged up. He's gonna be banged up and hurting and sore probably for the rest of his life.
For the rest of his life, he's gonna be in pain.
And it's just I just wish we had some kind of settlement on like what's the answer going to be, or is he going to not be in New England? You know what I mean? Because he was a trade topic for a little while. Like,
yeah,
because it was like, okay, because they don't know what he's going to do, and he hasn't told the organization his plans, that they're going to trade him.
How long is he under contract for?
I think he's got like 2 more years.
He's got 2 years
off the top
left,
of my head. I'm trying to think.
Well, I think what's most likely to happen in my book, in my mind, is I think he's definitely going to play this year. And then my hunch tells me he's going to retire.
Same. I feel the same way here.
Yeah.
He's got a contract through 2019. So this season and then next season.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think he only plays 1 more year though. I don't see him going beyond that. I really don't. He just seems so.
And this season he's supposed to get. He's supposed to have $10.9 million, and the final year of his contract is 12. So I think this could eventually actually be the last season for Gronkowski. Like you said, number of injuries and all sorts of different stuff. There's just so much going on with Belichick as well, which we'll get into.
I was about to say there's such a culture clash between him and Belichick. It sounds like.
I think it's a lot of people in the
organization. I know, but
Gronk.
What we read in the last couple of weeks is that Belichick called him out for using Brady's method, the TB12 method, in front of players, and that apparently made Gronk mad.
Well, because it's the whole conflict that also arose, which was the Alex Guerrero thing, which you mentioned, and him not being allowed on the sidelines, Brady's personal trainer, stuff like that, also helping some of the other players, and then the actual training staff itself were getting upset because they're thinking they might lose their jobs to Alex Guerrero or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Gronk is really annoyed because he started to use the TB12 method last year. Going into this past season, he started using it.
Because maybe what the trainers were doing wasn't helping. You know what I mean?
He
suffered so many injuries. This year, he actually stayed pretty healthy.
Yeah, it didn't. Overall, it hasn't been super effective for him and I think he's frustrated because they're getting mad at him for doing this. He's like, what do you guys want from me? I'm always getting injured. Don't you want me to be healthy? Then let me go try something new. Mm-hmm. You're not happy with it? What do you want from me?
Yeah.
I think that really irks him. And
we want you to be here and we want you to play, like you were saying,
mm-hmm.
but if you can't physically perform at your best and you are waking up sore every day and all sorts of stuff. I mean, I remember seeing TJ Hushmanzada on Fox Sports 1's The Herd, and he was talking about how when he was playing, some of the regular trainers, the whole concept is, you rest, throw some ice on it, take an ice bath, go lift weights, stuff like that. Pretty simple, just very straightforward, not a lot of, maybe thinking behind it. And he gets in contact with Alex Guerrero from another colleague or player of his, or excuse me, teammate of his, and he's been having like problems in his ankle or for however long, and he sits down with Guerrero for a few hours, and then he feels so much better.
Yeah.
So players like Guerrero, like he does whatever his method is, like the true method behind the madness.
It's just dieting and then stretching your muscles. It sounds like from everything I've seen.
Yeah, that's from what I've gathered.
That's what we gathered from Tom versus Time. It's basically like this is all we're doing. It's not crazy. You're just keeping muscles. The question is though, is that really going to be effective for a wide receiver or a tight end? Because they have so much contact.
I mean, we've only if let's say if Gronk actually did a lot of that this year, then I mean it looked like it was fine.
It did.
Yeah, and I think Edelman. You were mentioning
Edelman dabbled in it last summer, but I don't think he completely committed to it. It sounds like though after his ACL tear, it sounds like he's buying into it way more. He might do a full turn like Gronk has been doing. He really might. It's looking more and more like that's going to happen, and he's going to join Brady and Gronk at that facility, which that would create more of a culture divide in New England, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if your top veteran guys are going
are also not responding to your training staff, you know what I mean?
That's a big deal.
And I think there could be also a conflict that maybe Guerrero doesn't want to work for a particular organization because he probably makes more money outside of being tied to just the Patriots.
Also,
because other players around the NFL want to go to these kind of rehab facilities.
Also, there's health standards in the NFL that they have to follow, and I don't know if Guerrero's stuff necessarily falls under that. Do you know what I mean? For an official NFL health staff, I don't know if his methods fall under that, so I don't know if they could even hire him if they wanted to. Do you know what I mean? Like officially. Mm-hmm. I think that it's okay for Brady and those guys to go to him, but I don't know if it's okay for him to officially be brought on into the NFL staff.
Which, and he was allowed on the sidelines for a while, but then there was conflicts with the training staff, and this is according to the Seth Wickersham report, and then, was taken off the sidelines and by Belichick. Belichick came down and was like, look, I'm defending my guys.
Well, there's also the question of did that have to do with Jimmy? Because Jimmy got traded, and then he took him off. the sideline, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are thinking,
there was also something I heard during, like when I read, or not even heard, I read during the report where it was like Jimmy was having some injury trouble or whatever, and just tried going to the TB12 facility with Guerrero there, and then they said they were going to be open, but they were closed, and basically he wasn't getting in. But that was also something controversial. That was kind of like, no, the doors have been open. He just hasn't been there. I can't remember off the top of my head in full.
But the speculation I saw though is that he got rid of Alex to spite Brady, because he knew Brady is the reason why Jimmy got traded, and that he was like, well, fine, if I can't have Jimmy, then you can't have Alex on the sideline. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, that's possible. I don't know if that's what happened, though, because sometimes I think, it's too petty for Belichick, but at the same time, I wouldn't put it past the guy. I mean, I feel like he has quite an ego. I really do, and that's not necessarily a bad thing to be that successful. You're going to develop a bit of an ego, but I think Belichick... Belichick. I think Bill thinks that he is the reason they're so successful. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but I think he thinks to himself. That's why he got so upset about the Jimmy thing. I think he was like, no, it's me, it's not Tom.
And then further seeing Jimmy be successful in San Fran is like biting at him. He's like, look, this could have been the future for the organization. But I think at the end of the day, even if they didn't trade Jimmy, he was leaving New England. Because Tom didn't want to retire, and Jimmy wanted money. Like, he wanted to get paid.
I think, though, what
I'm saying is that I think no matter what would have happened, Jimmy was either going to go to San Francisco, and that would have been his best option trade-wise. The Patriots wouldn't have gotten anything out of it, or they would have had to pay him a ton of money. And he could have walked somewhere like Cleveland.
No, I think Bill really thought that Kraft was going to let Brady walk after this year. I think he assumed that, hey, we've got Jimmy, he's great, Brady will play one more year and have his swan song, and then that'll be it. We'll go on to Jimmy. And I think he just assumed that going into the offseason. And then Tom was like, no, I want to keep playing. And he's like, come on, you don't really want to keep playing, right? And then the season happened, and then apparently Tom went to Kraft and was like, no, he's going to push me out. Please don't push me out. And I think Kraft was like, no, we're not getting rid of Tom.
And speaking of Tom, let's transition to him. He was the next person up on the list. We're going to leave Bill Belichick towards the end. Murmurs out there from some of the talking heads in the media that he is leading almost like a small revolt against Bill.
He is.
And maybe, because I think that he could, if there's some actual grounds to this, what I'm thinking is that he's kind of getting annoyed with Bill. Like, he's been playing for a long time. They've been successful. Nobody can tell Tom that he isn't the greatest of all time, like that he isn't the face of that organization. And I think he is more comfortable with McDaniels possibly in the head coaching position if he wants to keep moving forward and enjoying the game. Like, they're not friends, you know what I mean? Like, they've even said that publicly. Like, they're not friends. They work together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it works. It's a relationship that is business only. And they go out there and they handle business, get stuff done. But it's not like Bill and Tom are like, buddy all the time. They just go out there. They have their objective. And I think that he's closer with McDaniels at this point.
Oh, much more.
I mean, the dude's been coaching him for a long time. Quarterback coach specifically for New England, as well as the offensive coordinator. You know what I mean? So I think that maybe Brady's trying to get Bill out the door.
Oh, he is definitely trying to get Bill out the door. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that that's what's happening here. I think he really wants... I think that if Bill doesn't go in the next 2 years, Brady's just going to retire. I really do. It all depends on who... It really is interesting. It's like a game...
Well, because Brady wants to play till he's 45. He'll be going 41 this season.
I just saw an article that some people closer to him now are thinking he doesn't actually want to play that long anymore. That he might only want to play 2 years now. Something like that.
I think the offseason's starting to get towards him in the sense of I'm around my family more.
Exactly. Like, that's what they're saying. Like, in the next... Like, he's getting older.
I think maybe he wants to have a season where he isn't worried about, Bill.
I think let's talk about that last episode of Tom versus Time, because I think that was very telling. He said, like, I've been around my family a whole lot, and I know that the end is coming. And then Giselle says he just wants to be appreciated, and I think that was a direct jab at Bill, that he doesn't feel like Bill appreciates everything he's done for him. Everything that Tom has done for Bill, I don't think he thinks that Bill appreciates.
I think that the two work hand in hand, because the things that annoy me when I see the internet is that, Bill is what made Brady. Well, and the thing is like, I think the relationship is about 50-50, because I think Bill would have been a successful coach even if he would have, let's say, stayed with the Jets, or Cleveland wouldn't have moved to Baltimore and they would have let him go. I think he would have eventually found success. But he wouldn't have won 5 Super Bowls without Brady. And I think Brady would have been fine anywhere else he could have gone.
But he wouldn't have won 5 Super Bowls
But he wouldn't have won 5 Super Bowls without Bill. No. It's literally a 50-50.
I know, and it's really frustrating.
And just sidebar, Tom is not a system quarterback. He's been through multiple systems in the NFL. And when he's been with the Patriots, Bill O'Brien, Charlie Casserly, and McDaniels. He's been through multiple systems, won 5 Super Bowls.
And look how many receivers. No, and look how many receivers he's been through over the years. How many dumpster receivers? No offense to a lot of these great turn out to be great, but no one thought they were anything.
Guys that are not a Randy Moss.
We're talking about 7th round picks and undrafted guys coming in. And they're putting up 100 plus yards a game in some of these games. I mean, we're talking about bargain bin players. I mean, look at Montana.
Well, I think that's why the philosophy of New England is we're not going to pay you to be the number 1 player in the NFL.
But the thing is,
no matter who you are.
I know, but the thing is that's only possible because of Tom. If Tom Brady wasn't so good and made everybody else around him so much better, then Bill would have to shell out more cash for these good players, and I don't think he appreciates that. I don't think he appreciates Tom, and I don't know.
I don't know. That was just a quick sidebar because the internet and social media are unavoidable.
No, I don't think he does appreciate Tom.
I just had to put it out there.
I don't think Tom appreciates Bill either, and I think it's really frustrating for Robert Kraft. You got to think about how Kraft is. Kraft just because
Kraft's trying to maintain a relationship between the two where it's he understands they have to work together, but I think that if he doesn't want to lose Tom. I think Kraft at the end of the day, to be completely honest with you, is going to side with Tom, and I think we saw that as a result of the Jimmy Garoppolo trade.
You know what I would do if I were Kraft? What? I would take Bill. I would say to both of them, "You're coming with me. We're going on a vacation, just the 3 of us, to just some cabin in the woods or something." And I would just take them out there, and I'd make them have to hang out with each other for a few weeks.
Oh my goodness!
I can. That'd be such a comedy special.
It would be a great comedy special.
Oh my god! But I actually think it wouldn't be a terrible idea. They need to hash this out. They need to figure it out. They do.
I mean, they've had meetings since, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we don't know anything about them.
We have no idea. It's all between the 3 of them. And I think at the end of the day, you have to realize Kraft gets the final say. Yeah. And I think Kraft really, really likes Brady. And I think that he has some tension with Bill because, Brady was his guy. Is Kraft's guy who's made who's been a huge part, face of the organization, very successful quarterback, right? It's half because of Bill, but he sided with Tom.
You know why we know he sided with Tom? Not even the Jimmy thing. That can maybe that was Bill's idea. There's a possibility that Bill just went, I know that we can't keep him. Let's trade and get something for him.
Which is the rational thing from what I think too. But go ahead.
But let's say that is possible. But we know that Kraft decided with Brady because of McDaniels. There's no way Josh McDaniels gave up a chance to be a head. He can't be head coach anywhere now in the NFL. He's pretty much blackballed except for in New England, right? Mm-hmm. For him to go, okay, I will stick around. Robert Kraft had to be like, hey, you're next.
Yeah.
And I think
as long as you keep doing what you're doing, you have a good thing here with Tom.
You're next.
You're next as soon as Bill retires. Or if Bill decides to leave. Yeah. And there have been reports out there. Remember really early in the offseason, they were like, he could end up being they're not the Giants' next head coach.
I think Bill will end up just retiring on.
I don't think he wants to go anywhere else.
I don't think he wants to be a head coach anywhere else. I could see him being a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I could see him.
I could see him being
he wouldn't. He wouldn't go back to being a defensive coordinator.
I think he would. He's a little older.
No, I think Bill's at the age now where it's if you retire, he's gonna go to Florida and go fishing all the time. That's his thing. Jimmy Johnson. He could end up doing some stuff, maybe media. But you know how Bill is with the media?
No, Bill's not going to the media.
Yeah, well, I don't know, interviews and stuff like that. But he's not gonna end up being another head coach somewhere. Yeah,
write a book.
He'll write a book about and then we'll finally understand what the whole conflict was from Bill's side.
No, I agree with you. I think whoever leaves first, they're retiring. They're not going somewhere else. I can't see Bill going. Where would?
And Kraft ain't leaving.
Of course, Kraft isn't leaving.
It's one of the most successful brands in sports.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
It's worth so much money.
I know.
Exactly. Why would you?
It's fantastic.
Anyway, but no, Tom's gonna retire here in the next few years.
I think he's got 2 years left.
This is the year that they go after, and let's just segue into Belichick as well, but. This is the year where the Patriots start working a lot more towards the future, with heavy investment in the future.
Yeah.
I think this is the season where, like we were saying, McDaniels is the apparent favorite to take over for Bill. The Patriots have been showing interest in Josh Rosen, Lamar Jackson.
Baker Mayfield.
They've been showing a lot of interest in quarterbacks this year. It looks like they're going quarterback in the first round, whoever's there. And it could be Rudolph. There have been weird reports out there. They could move up to get Rosen. I don't know. I have my mock draft, which we'll get to later.
We'll get to that eventually.
But the Patriots have a lot going on here in terms of going towards the future, which is why I think you're right. McDaniels is the guy. And I think Bill wanted Jimmy to be the guy in New England. but Brady's staying, and he's not going anywhere. Kraft likes Brady too much.
Well, time wasn't on his side. It's not even Kraft's fault.
No. And like I've said too, is that I think Jimmy was gonna be gone no matter what. If Brady was staying.
Oh yes, if Brady was staying, he was.
If Brady retired, like if he guarantees that he's retiring, Jimmy stays, and they pay him, and they probably get him. They get him for a lot less than what San Francisco's paying him.
Honestly, I think they would have won this Super Bowl if Brady had just been honest or not honest, but said to Bill like, "Hey, I'm retiring after this year." I think Bill would have like really invested in winning this Super Bowl. I don't know. I don't know. Going into the Super Bowl, I just felt like, looking back on it now, I went into that Super Bowl thinking something's wrong.
Well, I mean, besides the Butler thing.
Well, yeah, that happened, and then I was like, "Oh no, something is wrong."
Which we'll touch on.
We'll touch on that. Yeah, I just think. I think that maybe the Butler situation doesn't happen if Jimmy's still there. You know, maybe Bill feels like he owes it to Tom to make sure he wins one more or something like that.
I think possible. No matter what, Tom's going to try to go win another one. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Tom's not walking into the season thinking, all right, I'm happy with we're going 8-8. No, he's like Super Bowl or bust every year. That's just the way Tom is. I think Bill is looking at this, well, we'll see how it goes. Maybe. I think there is some discontent from Bill's side, but I think he does realize that there's not a better situation for him anywhere else in the NFL.
I wonder if Bill realizes how badly he messed up with Malcolm Butler, though.
I don't know. We have no idea what he's like in person. We've only gotten the small takes from the media and from what we've heard, which we're going to get to.
But I think that is a good segue into other players that have left now New England, and they have come out and said, yeah, Butler being benched affected us.
Like Cooks being gone, Lewis, Butler, Solder, and Amendola are all guys that are major contributors for the Patriots last season now are gone.
But Amendola's
signed with the Dolphins. He had said he wanted to stay in New England, but that's understandable why the Patriots didn't sign him back. In an interview with ESPN, though, he talked about how Bill is tough to play for. He's kind of unlikable, but it's worth it for some when they have the ring at the end of the season. Like Amendola was like, look, like he's tough, he pushes you hard. Like I don't want to be out there every time it snows practicing or every time it's storm and rain, but we're out there and it's worth it when you look down during the ceremony at the end of the year and you see you have a ring. Yeah, like that's the whole point.
But I think Amendola was honest,
and even Butler doesn't really have any real answers. Like he still doesn't really know.
Yeah.
Like, for sure why he was benched. There's speculation out there, but I think that's a big part of why the Patriots lost.
But Amendola was honest. I mean, now he's left, he said, no, it affected us and we didn't understand it. And Amendola apparently asked why at one point. He's like, why isn't he out there? Like, why isn't he out there? And people were like, I don't know, Bill doesn't want him out there. And everybody's like, what the heck? What's going on here? I mean, Devin McCourty came out.
I mean, even Butler goodness, my words. Even Butler did say at one point that he was like, I wanted to walk up and ask what's going on here? Why am I not playing? Apparently, this is the lineup of what the rumors were versus what Butler has said versus what other people have said.
Apparently, Butler said he didn't want he wanted to walk up to Bill and say, "Come on, let's not have it end this way."
Yeah, he did. Well, he did say that in public.
Yes,
but apparently he had dealt with some illness earlier in the week, and there was maybe like a curfew issue, which was spread around by the talking heads, but it was mostly because he had been ill like a few days before because maybe like bad food, whatever.
He looked fine.
We don't know that. Like, we don't know if he would have been out there playing on the field and he would have been getting destroyed. We would have been like, oh man, well it makes sense. Like, we won't know because it didn't happen.
I know, but you'd think when we were losing so badly, you'd at least give him a chance to go out there.
Well, Butler seemed like he did want to play and like he was going to be okay for that game. Yeah. But apparently it was like a last minute thing and they weren't sure how healthy he was, so that's why they benched him.
He told him in the locker room. Yeah. He told him in the locker room before the game that you're not playing. Why would you wait so long to tell the guy? And Devin McCourty, good for him. He's defending Bill and he's saying, "Oh no, Bill told us." No, he didn't. Amendola wouldn't lie about that. Amendola left. He has no reason to lie anymore. He's just gonna tell it like it is. Like technically he's not loyal to them anymore, right? So when he leaves, he's just gonna be honest and say, "This is what happened." He benched him.
But how much? But the thing is, still, is like, how much does Amendola know? I don't think the only person who really knows. I don't even think Matt Patricia knows.
Bill knows.
I think Bill is the only person who knows, and we may never find out in our lifetime.
Kraft might know.
Maybe,
but I doubt it.
But basically, all we have with the Butler situation still is speculation. That's all we have, and that's all we're probably going to get for a long time until somebody writes a book about it.
Maybe when Bill retires, he'll be honest.
Maybe
he'll be like, "I did it on purpose." Because
I want to find out. Like maybe years down the road, if I end up being very fortunate career-wise, interview the guy and figure it out.
Oh, Bill wouldn't. I don't think Bill's ever going to explain himself.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I mean, it could be just the one thing that will bite at him for the rest of like his career. Like everybody's like, even Patriots fans will see him and be like, "Oh, I'm a big fan," but like I have a question. And he's gonna be like, "If it's about Butler, I'm not talking about it." You know what I mean?
I could see it be a situation where like one of Bill's sons years later tells him like.
I mean, his son, Steve Belichick, is the safeties coach.
Yeah, so he probably knows.
Maybe.
Oh, he probably knows.
He's a defensive backs coach. Perhaps. We have no idea, man. Let's see. So the future of the organization, like we were saying earlier, McDaniels seems to be the apparent guy to take over for Bill in the next few years. Patriots have shown interest in Josh Rosen, Mayfield, Jackson. They are planning long term to try to get ready for life without Bill and Tom. That is very apparent to me. Reports are suggesting heavily the Patriots are very interested in quarterbacks this offseason in the draft. The biggest splash they could make. And I think there's potential, but I don't think it's going to happen because of the amount of picks that they do have and they realize what they have. Trading with San Francisco at 10 to get Lamar Jackson or Josh Rosen potentially. I think it's really far-fetched, but I would be a little surprised, but I wouldn't be as shocked if I saw it happen. You know what I mean? Like the Niners realize what they have, and the people that are worthy of what they need are not going to be available or worth the pick until 23 and 31.
I mean, there's a possibility that they trade up with the Niners or with Denver or.
There's even been I even saw Cleveland. One where it was they could trade with Cleveland for the number 4 overall pick and go get their next quarterback in the future because there is real interest in Rosen and Mayfield, and one of those two could definitely be there at 4.
You know why it makes sense to me why Bill would do that? I think he's annoyed about the Jimmy thing, so he goes, fine, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get somebody so good that in 2 years, you're going to look crazy not to start them.
Yeah.
Right? Do you see what I mean? Get somebody so good that no one can be like, no, you need to keep Brady out there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To the point where it's no, you have to start. You can't trade this guy. This is the number 1 draft pick. He's great. He's been sitting behind Brady for a few years. He's ready.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me for Bill to do that for the first time.
And Brady will be 43 years old. Brady's either going to retire or, get released and then retire. You know what I mean? Brady doesn't want to play anywhere else.
No.
He's also at this age too, and 41 is an old age. But he's also in this point, it feels like in his career where no matter what happens, I don't think he wants to play anywhere or be anywhere other than New England. You know what I mean?
No, I absolutely agree.
There's no point for him at 41 to get go be a free agent and sign for a team for a year, have to relearn an entire system, relearn an entire staff of players, and then be like, well, now I'm calling it.
Let's just assume this is his last year. I don't think it is, but I can't see it 42 him going to the Browns or going to Bengals or something.
Yeah, it's just not gonna happen. I think he would do fine, but it wouldn't be the same. You know what I mean?
They'd get in the playoffs.
There's a whole. It's about a comfort thing too. Where I said earlier, it was I don't think the system change would be the toughest part. I think it's the culture change.
Yeah,
that would bother. And being with Bill for so long, there's a big difference culturally. And I think he wants McDaniels, but I don't think he wants to leave New England. Even just the sports culture of Boston sports is a big thing. If he leaves and let's say, for instance, went to a Cincinnati or something. You know what I mean? That's not the same.
No, it's not.
I don't think Brady wants to be anywhere else.
And I think Josh doesn't want to leave too because he knows that Bill and Brady are probably
he turned down a lot of money
a ton
to stay in New England.
Can you imagine him with someone like Josh Rosen? McDaniel, oh man,
I think it would work well.
It would work really well as long as Rosen was committed.
Who do you want the Patriots to? If you had to get a quarterback that seemed like it's reasonable, they could end up at 23 from some kind of stretch, who would you want the most?
Baker.
You want Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, to sit behind Brady for a year.
I don't think Baker's gonna fall that far.
No, I don't either.
I think it's impossible. But if they made some
you're
kind
asking
of move,
me. No, you're asking me if I can have anybody.
Oh, if you can just
is that what you're asking me?
Okay, I'll ask you 2 separate questions.
Cool.
If you can have anybody, you say Baker. But if you can have if you think there's going to be a quarterback available at 23, who do you let's say that Rosen for some reason falls to 23, Lamar Jackson's still on the board, and let's even throw Mason Rudolph in there.
I think most likely the Patriots end up taking Mason Rudolph
because you think he'd still just
I think he'll be there, and I don't think that's bad. I think they actually really like him, and he would sit behind Brady for a year or two. He would be able to develop.
There's also some other kid out there who I can't remember, but
From
I
Richmond,
did see
right?
some reports. No, that's somebody I looked at because a friend of mine goes there.
No, there's a guy who I looked top 10 potential quarterbacks in the NFL in the draft, and he was up there.
There's some other I'm saying there's some other quarterback out there that's not supposed to go in the first round. I think it might have been out of it's some smaller school or whatever. But they really he's a really big winning kind of quarterback, 6'5", NFL body. It's just that he went to a smaller school, so he hasn't been looked at.
I think they'll draft 2 quarterbacks. They'll draft someone maybe in the first, and they'll draft someone in the third. You know what I mean? It just sounds like something Bill would do, right?
Plus, Brian Hoyer's not the future.
No.
No.
No way.
Not in the slightest.
Maybe they won't go for a quarterback. They do have Brian Hoyer under contract for a few more years. I mean, maybe you do keep him for a year or two, and then you go pick a quarterback after Hoyer retires or something. I don't know.
I don't think Brian Hoyer's their guy.
No,
because next year apparently the quarterback class is really like
bad. It's bad.
It's not nearly as good as this one.
No,
and there's nobody who's going to be worth like the number 1 overall pick.
No.
So.
Well, the thing is, I think
this is the year you go get your quarterback.
I mean,
for the Patriots.
if Brady were to get hurt, Hoyer would step in probably this year. I don't think they would put the rookie in. I mean, they might, but I think Hoyer would start at least a few games before the rookie went out there and threw it around.
Well, we're sitting at 5:30. Let's get a transition over to the Dez Bryant story.
Yeah, let's do that. I mean.
All the hits. The New River Valley's hit station. RFR. Radio Free Radford.
And we're back here. Where will Dez Bryant go? That is the number 1 question of the moment. 5:31 here in Radford, Virginia. It's actually nice today.
Yeah.
One of the few times in 2018 it's been nice. And, it's only the 4th month of the year.
Last weekend, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Scary, right?
It was nice last weekend.
Yeah, it was nice last weekend.
It was shorts weather.
Yeah, it's shorts weather right now. But tomorrow it's supposed to hit like 40, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I know, it's going to be great. Tomorrow's going to be cold. I looked, though, it's like the last day it's going to be cold, though.
For a little while, at least.
At least another week.
I hope so. Every time I think it's not going to be cold, and I start putting away more winter clothes. Like the last time when it hit like 70-ish, I put away all my sweaters. And now at this point, it's like, okay, well, we might get a little more chilly. So it's like, I can't even put away my jackets yet. That's basically where I'm sitting.
Stinks.
It does suck. You know what I mean? Like, Radford usually it's a little colder. We're up in the mountains of Virginia, you know what I mean? But still, come on.
Yeah.
It's April. We are less than 3 weeks away from graduation.
It's April.
And it's April.
Remember when it was like 70 degrees in February, and then we got a snowstorm in March?
Yeah. What did we get? We got like 14 inches of snow or something like that, less than a month ago.
Some stupid amount.
Less than a month ago.
I know.
Whatever. Let's talk about Dez Bryant, though.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's excited to be on the show.
Yeah, totally.
Well, not like we have him as a guest, but that would be awesome.
He just comes through the door.
Hey, what's going on, guys? You know what I mean? Just gotta talk a bunch of stuff.
Huge fan.
I'll tell you. Yeah, huge fan.
I'm gonna tell you that I'm going to the Rams. You heard it here first.
You heard it here. If he goes to the Rams, dude,
he's not going to the Rams.
I don't know how they're gonna be able to pay everybody.
They're not gonna have the cap
because Aaron Donald needs to get paid. Aaron Donald to me is worth just as much as you're gonna pay Aqib Talib and Ndamukong Suh for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And they only signed Ndamukong for 1. I think that's the only reason why they got Ndamukong for 1. To be completely honest with you.
I think Talib and Suh are both gone after this year.
Yeah? It's just like a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Because
Well, how old's Talib?
Talib's in his 30s.
Yeah, I mean, I would let him go, actually. I'd let him walk after this year.
I could see Talib maybe, but I definitely see Suh being gone after
Suh's gone after this year,
I think the reason they got all these big acquisitions, including Brandon Cooks, was mostly because they're trying to go after the Super Bowl. They were like, oh, wow, McVay's really killing it this year.
I think Cooks is
So this year, let's get every single huge personality in the NFL besides Richard Sherman.
They're keeping Cooks around, though, right? That's the plan, anyways, from what I heard, yeah.
Yeah, they like Cooks.
I think Talib and Suh
But it's because Cooks works with that system.
Yes, he does.
Like, he's a better receiver than Sammy Watkins is.
Yep.
He is. And Robert Woods is a really fast receiver. They have Farrah Cooper, who was really good in special teams last year. They have Tyler Higbee, I'm pretty sure, is their tight end, who wasn't bad.
And they got Gurley.
They have a good offensive line. Or, excuse me, the protection worked. The protection was really good this last season with Whitworth and Havenstein and all that.
Don't forget, Gurley they were talking about him maybe being MVP.
I know, for a month. But the only reason why I didn't like him for MVP was because he only played amazing for that month.
No, I know, but the fact that he was in the conversation.
Oh, he was amazing. I think that Antonio Brown should really get an MVP at some point in his career, man. The dude's dirt nasty, and the fact that a receiver has never won an NFL MVP before. The year that Jerry Rice went for 23 touchdowns.
If he hadn't gotten hurt, he would have won it.
Oh, if Gurley?
No, Antonio.
Antonio? Maybe.
I think he would have gotten it.
Maybe.
There's a good chance.
Yeah, I think the whole thing was Tom was leading the NFL in like every quarterback category except touchdowns. He was 40 years old.
Tom had kind of a slump towards the end of the regular season, but then the playoffs.
That's not irregular from Tom.
No, but then he went off in the postseason, and then it was like, yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah. When it got
by the time the NFL honors came around, it like made sense.
You know, every year he's won MVP, they've gone to the Super Bowl and lost.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
That sucks. It sucks. It sucks as a Patriots fan.
Well, here's the thing. What do you think? Would he rather win another MVP or win another Super Bowl?
I'd rather him win a Super Bowl.
I mean, 5 is... He's already beat everyone.
Dude, it's Tom. He wants to win the Super Bowl. He doesn't care about the MVP.
I mean, he should.
It looks nice for his resume, but he doesn't care about the MVP.
How many does Peyton have?
5.
Yeah, I'd want to win one
He's
more.
got 2 Super Bowls.
I want to win a few more, just to get close to Peyton at least.
I don't care about beating Peyton in the MVP category.
He does.
Oh, Tom's just a competitive person. Yeah. But I think, Tom would rather win the Super Bowl 3 more times than win an MVP 3
more times? Yeah. That's probably true.
You know what I mean?
No, I think it's... But, I mean...
Well, let's get back to Dez Bryant. Let's get back to Dez Bryant. I don't mind doing tangents, but let's just stick to Dez Bryant.
We did do a tangent there.
Released by the Cowboys due to lack of major production from the last few seasons. Not worth the... I think it was like $12+ million. $12
million.
It was like 16 maybe? I can't remember.
It was 12 million.
It was 12?
Yep.
And they were going to pay... They're going to have to pay him. So we have potential teams lined up, but mostly it's just up in the air. That's just the sense I'm getting. Like, nobody really knows. There's a lot of speculation out there, but he hasn't really talked to any teams from what we've heard, visited anybody yet.
I read today he wants to go to the Giants, but the Giants don't want him.
Yeah,
that's what I read. They don't need him. They don't need Dez.
They don't. They have Brandon Marshall for under contract for 1 more year, but I think Marshall isn't... No.
Yeah, but everybody played awful last year. That's not fair.
Marshall got hurt early in the season.
Yes,
too.
and yes, but then also
in the one game he played, he didn't look very good.
Odell got hurt too. Like you gotta give them all a chance. But they have Shepard too, right?
I like Shepard.
They got Shepard, Odell, and Marshall.
I think that if they let somebody go, it'd be Marshall. They don't need to bring in another receiver because Shepard's good. I think Shepard should have been the guy that they kept on.
Keep Marshall because Dez and Odell...
Shepard got hurt last year too. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, I know.
They had I don't even know who the guys' names were. Sorry, Giants wide receivers. I just didn't know who you guys were. Sorry.
But no, I don't think you want Dez and Odell in the locker room together. Mm-hmm. You just don't. I'd rather have Marshall and Odell.
They're both very loud, and sometimes it works, but sometimes it really doesn't.
I don't think it would work.
That's a big gamble.
Can't you see them both just fighting over wanting the ball?
Yeah. It's Eli just sitting in a corner crying because he doesn't know to throw the ball to anymore.
I mean, I can see him crying. Absolutely.
Eli?
Oh yeah, he cries all the time. Sorry. I gotta go. I gotta throw a jab at Eli.
This is because of the Super Bowls?
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's all malicious.
Yeah,
That's all
it is. It is.
It's just malicious, like badgering because beat us in
It's 07.
It beat us in one very important Super Bowl.
It's 07. It's not even 11. It's
the
the 07 one. But anyways, I don't think
07 one's still traumatizing. I think hurts my chest.
The Eagles one is nothing compared to that 07 one. Nothing.
No. I think I hate to think that Tom's comfortable. He's not comfortable losing, but like the worst loss he's ever had was 07.
Absolutely.
Like that's the big.
He's admitted that.
Yeah, he's like, oh, this one hurt. Like when we get watching Tom versus.
He said this one still hurts.
This one's of course it will. It'll hurt him for the rest of his life. He'll on his. I hate to be
on
mean.
His tombstone.
Like it'll be in his nightmares. He probably still sees. Who's David Tyree catching it against his helmet.
And he's standing on the sideline and not being able to do anything.
Like I remember watching that initially, and I was like, that ball hit the ground. There's no way it didn't hit the ground. But it didn't.
Tom didn't even play very well in that game, which is the sad part.
No, he didn't.
He threw one touchdown.
No, he hates that game too because he knows he didn't play very well.
Yeah.
He threw one to Moss though.
It was a bomb. It was great, but no one could get open. He was harassed. It just didn't.
The Giants' defensive line ruined his day. Like he ruined the Giants. The Giants' defensive line is the MVP of that game. I don't care what you say about Eli. Eli may have had one great drive.
That's a game they almost won because of Bill. Like, if they had won that game, it would have been because of Bill, not because of Tom.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Bill played that defense. Our defense played great. It just
Eli had one lucky play where he broke away, and then followed by one of the greatest catches of all time. I'm not gonna lie about it. Like that's an amazing catch.
Yeah. Dez,
dude, why do we not want to talk about Dez?
I don't know why we don't want to talk about.
Maybe it's just not as interesting as we thought it was going.
Top 3 teams he could go to.
San Fran. I really think San Fran, Green Bay, and Baltimore.
Those 3 make sense, but I think he wants to go somewhere that matters.
I think he's going to want to go somewhere that wins. I think that he's going to like San Fran because of the nice weather. Jimmy Garoppolo's young. They have a really good offensive team.
He's from that area, isn't he? Isn't he from California? I feel like
he's from Florida.
I think isn't he a Raiders fan when he was growing up? I swear I read somewhere he was a Raiders fan. I could be wrong, though.
I'll look it up. Go ahead and elaborate.
But I think that the 49ers make sense. They have the cap space for him. They don't have anybody filling that role in the offense. I think he should go there. That would make the most sense to me.
Oh, he's from Texas.
He is from Texas. Okay.
Yeah, from East Texas.
But I think it makes the most sense for him to go to the 49ers. I agree with you. I mean,
I think they have the money. They need a big receiver, and somebody that's definitely going to be able to just go up, get physical with the ball, and help Jimmy Garoppolo in the red zone.
Dude, Jimmy throwing balls to him.
That'd be nasty.
Because he's so accurate.
The issue I have with Dez is that obviously he's not worth $12 million, and the problem is that the last couple seasons hasn't been able to get off of corners.
Yeah, but to be fair,
he's a very physical, strong receiver, but it's kind of hard to throw to a receiver that can't get an arm's length away, like from a corner.
And I get that, but Dak's been the one throwing it to him, and Dak is not as accurate as Tony.
No.
Tony Romo, like, laser, right? For the most part. Jimmy has quite an arm. He's very accurate. People like Brady and Rodgers and Garoppolo, they make sense to me for him, for his style, because they can throw those 50-50 balls. And
I think Dak's still working on his accuracy.
Yeah, Dak is not at his
without
peak
Ezekiel Elliott like carrying the
load.
The load, basically. Like I like Dak. Don't get me wrong. I think he's still better than a good number of quarterbacks out there so far.
I agree.
And the sophomore slump does actually hit people. It's a real thing in the NFL. But
he's not at his peak either. He just isn't.
No. His first season was great, and that's the big reason why Tony was comfortable with like retiring and not going somewhere else. I think that's why Tony was like, look, you guys really like Dak. The NFL community likes Dak. The fans like Dak, even if they hate me for some reason.
I wish Tony had gone to the Broncos.
Yeah, me too. That would have been a great rivalry between him and Tom. Especially in the playoffs. They could have gotten another Super Bowl. Or they would have gotten close.
No, that was the missing piece.
Well, the thing is that I think if it was Tony though, he would have gotten hurt.
Yeah, he would have fallen and been, my back.
No, because the Denver offensive line was a lot worse than than Dallas's.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah, it wasn't good. But I think
Dez in Baltimore makes sense to me because they, for some reason, cannot find a receiver that works with Joe Flacco.
I don't think he wants to go there, though.
No, I think there's a bad esteem for receivers in Baltimore, too. Like, the offense has been so mediocre.
Forever.
Yeah. Since they won the Super Bowl that year. Even that year, they were decent, but the playoffs, they just switched for some reason and turned it on.
2013, 2014. Remember, we played them in the division?
And they came back twice from 2 14-point deficits?
Yeah, and their offense was on fire.
Yeah.
Like, that was the last year.
The Ravens shine in the playoffs, but the problem is they have trouble getting
But that's the last time I can think of their offense being good. Like, even good.
They had Anquan Bolden, they had Mike... No, they didn't have Mike Wallace that year, did they?
They did have Mike Wallace, I think.
No, they didn't. They had Torrey Smith.
That's it.
They had Torrey Smith, Anquan Bolden when Anquan was probably on his last really good season.
They have Smith Sr.?
Dennis Pitta was still playing football, like, while healthy. Their offensive line was really solid. They had Marshall Yonda. They had
Smith Sr.?
They had Wagner. What?
Smith Sr.?
That was when Orr was really good too.
Did they? I don't know. I really don't know if they had him or not.
That might have been the year they had Smith Sr.
I think
he might have been hurt or something like that. No.
But that's the last year I can think of them their offense being good. After that, it's just been downhill. It really has. It's been a spiral.
Yeah, and
so I wouldn't go there if I were him.
I think they would have enough money. It's just for some reason Baltimore offensively has just been declining, and I think initially it began with the Joe Flacco contract because he signed for a ton of money, and then they had to let a bunch of people go. People were tired, obviously, but people had to go because they couldn't pay him.
I don't think Dez and Rodgers would get along. I know you threw out the Packers, but I don't see it.
I think Dez would get along. I think he would bring an energy to that locker room that they kind of need.
You think so?
Maybe, because Rodgers is the offense. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
And they have Devontae Adams and they have Cobb and they let go of Jordy. I think if they get Dez, it just brings another weapon for Rodgers to throw to. And because they've got some good players.
Why do they keep trying to make the tight ends work in Green Bay? It's not working.
They got Jimmy Grant too. I forgot about that.
But it's not working. Like the same thing with they got Michael.
Well, they had Jared Cook and that worked. That season worked. They had Martellus. Martellus was hurt though.
Yeah.
But their tight ends have not been a big staple of the offense.
With the Martellus thing, that was really iffy. Shady. That was shady, man. I don't know.
But he retired. So.
Yep, he's done. Which I can't blame him. Yeah, by the way.
Even his retirement, he was like, football wasn't even my first passion either. Like I was not as dedicated to playing football as other people in the locker rooms. It was just a source of income.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Dude got a ring. Good for him, you know what I mean? So you think San Fran most likely? That makes the most other options. I mean, people really think the Patriots are going to go after him.
It's possible.
It's not impossible, but I just don't see it for some reason. I don't see them going after Dez unless it's he's still on the market until after the draft.
I was going to say, if nobody picks him up, put it this way, if after the draft no one's picked him up, he's going to New England.
For a 1-year contract or something.
If no one picks him up until after the draft, he is going to New England. I'll make that call now.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't pay him a ton of money. He'd be able to go actually compete I mean,
I would just hate to see him go somewhere that's like not a big team.
Yeah.
And like it kind of gets wasted.
He goes to the Bengals.
I was about to say the Bengals.
Yeah, right.
Because maybe him and AJ Green would be nasty.
We're so mean to the Bengals.
Yeah, we are. But no, let me just be clear. Him and AJ Green would be nasty, especially with John Ross and LaFell. Their offense would be nasty. I think they would actually make the playoffs.
They always make the playoffs. They just don't win any games.
No, but then they would crumble the playoffs. Like they're just not. The problem with the Bengals is that they're good sometimes, and they really impress you sometimes, but they haven't shown consistency. And I don't know why they can't just move on from Marvin Lewis. I really don't understand.
I don't get it either.
They've had him for 15 years.
It's not working.
It's just not what is gonna get you to a championship. You know what I mean?
No.
It really isn't.
What about the Redskins? For Dez?
The Redskins, I could see because they need a receiver and maybe a little bit more veteran leadership, and they were willing to shell out tons of money for players that just aren't worth that much. Like, Dez is good. I think he'd be worth maybe 8 or 9, but he would not be worth $15 million.
I don't think he thinks that he's worth 12 or 15 anymore. I don't think he does. We'll see. I mean, if he does, he's wrong. No one's going to pay him that much money. He's wrong. No one's going to pay him that much money. I'll be blown away if someone pays him $12 million.
I'm saying San Fran, number one option.
Yep.
Number 2, the Redskins can make sense. So we'll put the Redskins in the conversation.
Get back at the Cowboys.
But I still think Baltimore makes a push, but it's just not going to be what he wants.
Texans. Apparently he's a
no.
But he's.
And I'll tell you why. Because Fuller and Hopkins are dangerous. Like Fuller's the fast guy on the other side of the ball from Hopkins that still pulls the safety in the corner away. And I don't think they're going to be able to pay Dez what he wants if he goes there. Like, they've got a number of really good, talented guys.
They don't need him, I agree.
They don't need him. Like, it'd be decent. It would be better for them, but it's not like it's a major leap that's going to get them to the Super Bowl.
I mean, the Patriots don't need him.
Like, getting Tyrann Mathieu was a splash for the Texans.
Yeah, that was crazy.
You know what I mean?
That's
a splash for them. Their defense is going to be nasty. Like they always are.
No, but they're going to be nasty this year. If everybody stays healthy, watch out. Watch out.
Dude, they're gonna have the best pass rush in football. I guarantee you. We can see. All right, so let's move on to the NFL draft. Let's segue this one real quick. 10 seconds.
Hey everyone, this is Demi Lovato, and you're listening to today's Top Hits
Radio Free Redford.
All right, the NFL mock draft. What is this, 5.0 for me at this point?
I don't know.
I think it's like 5 at this point.
Feels like it.
It's probably. It is the last 13 minutes of the Rines report for this week. Let's call it 12 because I did the outro. So, all right, you go ahead and give me your
top 10.
Let's do top. We'll segment it because we have enough time to fill. Let's do top 3 first. Let's see how.
Do you want to start at 10 and go down?
No, we'll start at 1 and move down.
Okay, fine. At number 1, I think the Browns take Josh Allen. I don't think they're. Look, they should take Sam Darnold.
And I had them on my mock draft taking him last week.
Yeah,
but I think things are changing.
I don't have faith that they will make the right decision and take the safe guy. I just don't think they're just.
They're looking for the splash.
You know the Browns. They're always doing that. It always backfires. Just take the consistent safe guy and take Darnold. I don't think they will. I think they're going to take Josh Allen. I think they will regret it for probably another 10 years. At number 2, I think the Giants then will take Sam Darnold because they will see he's available and they can't pass up on that, right? They would be crazy to pass up on that, right? Then I think at number 3, I think the Jets take Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
I think he's a good fit.
So
makes sense.
Here in number 1, I think I did see something from Hugh Jackson like laughing about the idea of taking Josh Allen at 1. I did see that on NFL.com. It was like he kind of like chuckled about something. I didn't get a chance to actually watch the video. I was totally not watching or looking at NFL.com in class. Don't listen. Don't look into that. But I have Cleveland taking Sam Darnold yet again, number 1. I think Buffalo trades with the Giants at number 2. The Giants are going to get the 12th and 22nd pick for that. And I think they're going to get Josh Allen, quarterback Wyoming. I think that's what Buffalo really, really wants. I think they really want Josh Allen. Number 3, Baker Mayfield. We can agree on that one.
Yeah, I think that one makes a lot of sense. I think he's a good fit for New York. He'd bring some personality to the team that hasn't had personality in, 5 years?
Not since Rex Ryan was there.
Even before. I feel like...
No, Rex was a personality.
I know, but player-wise, they haven't had personality in God knows how long.
Jarrell Reeves was really quiet. Mark Sanchez was... Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, he was Mark Sanchez.
Did you see that he got suspended? He's getting suspended he's a free agent. He's suspended for the first 4 games of the season if he signs somewhere for performance-enhancing drugs.
Are you serious?
And the funny thing that I saw, it was Dan Levitard, I think they were talking about it. It was like, how you're going to penalize a guy who took performance-enhancing drugs. He denied it, by the way. And it was like, how are you that mediocre?
Oh, no.
How are you that like kind of mediocre and you're taking performance enhancers? Stugat's Army, man. Hashtag Stugat's Army. Let's see. Number 4, I have Cleveland staying there and taking Bradley Chubb, defensive NC State. Number 5, Quentin Nelson, guard, Notre Dame going to Denver. And number 6, Indianapolis takes running back Saquon Barkley out of Penn State.
All right.
So you're 4 through 6.
Okay. For number 4, I think the Browns are going to take Bradley Chubb. I think that just makes sense. He's easily
give him an edge rush. You know
he's
what I mean?
the nastiest defensive player in this draft.
Yeah,
hands down. So I think
that it also works well with Garrett. You
know
what I mean? Like, you just get him on both ends, and it's just going to be terrifying.
At number 5, I think the Broncos are going to take Denzel Ward. Makes sense.
The Broncos?
Yep.
Just to, like, work with Chris Harris.
Yeah, I think they need to replace Talib. Makes sense.
Well, I just think that Bradley Roby's their next guy. That's why I think they're going to take Quentin Nelson. Because he's a big guard. Their offensive line has been pretty subpar the last few years.
It's possible. And then at number 6, I think the Bills are going to trade with the Colts. And I think they're going to go get Josh Rosen.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think they want...
I mean, it's not impossible.
I think they want to go to, like, number 2 or number 3, but I don't think that's going to happen. And so I think that it makes the most sense for them to go. They could trade with the Broncos, though, but I think they're going to end up trading with the Colts.
Do you think they really like Rosen, though?
I don't know if they necessarily like Rosen, but I think they feel like they need a quarterback, and they're sweating.
Well, yeah, they just made I don't think they want to regress. I think they want to keep trying to move forward. But
yeah.
They're going to have to understand that taking a rookie quarterback does not make you a playoff competitive team.
Because I personally think Allen, Darnold, and Mayfield are all gone.
Yeah.
And I think Rosen just makes the sense to pick up.
Number 7, I have Tampa Bay not taking Minkah Fitzpatrick for the first time, and I have them taking Derwin James, safety out of Florida State. I think they're going to go with the secondary. Like, I think that's pretty much a given that the Bucs are going for a secondary player. But I think that people are starting to get more comfortable with Derwin James as more of a playmaker guy out of Florida State, and they're going to stay, okay, this guy's in state, let's just go after him. I think they're going to go get Derwin James. Number 8, Chicago gets Denzel Ward, cornerback OSU, Ohio State University. They're going to keep working on the secondary because they got Allen Robinson, and they have, I think Eric Ebron playing with them. I can't remember who it was. They picked up somebody for Trubisky. And number 9, San Francisco takes Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker, Virginia Tech. So you're 7 through 9.
So at number 7, I've got the Buccaneers taking Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think that's a lock, honestly. I think it makes sense.
I did like it as a lock 2 weeks ago, but then for some reason it just feels like they're maybe not as sold, and the NFL isn't nearly as sold as they could be.
I think they're going to take him. And then the Bears at number 8, I think the Bears are actually going to take Quentin Nelson.
Yeah, just give
Trubisky for years to come.
Dude's a beast.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I think that if I were them, that's who I would pick up. And then at number 9, I've got the 49ers to actually taking Saquon Barkley.
You think he falls all the way to San Fran?
I think he does. Where do you think where did you say he went?
I had him going to Indy.
Yeah, that's right. You did have him going to Indy. That's right. I think that no, because
I just can't see anybody passing up on him all the way to 9, though.
Well, no, that's the thing.
I think he's besides maybe Quentin Nelson, I think you put him right there with Quentin as the best players in this draft.
Hear me out. Oh, I agree. But
and then it'd probably be Bradley Chubb.
Hear me out, though. I don't think the Broncos go and get him. I just don't think they're going to go get him. I think they're
I don't think they. I mean, they let go C.J. Anderson.
Yeah, but they don't need him. I think the Bills, though, because the Bills are going to trade up, so Indy won't be in the top 10, and they want a quarterback. The Buccaneers, I think they want to pick up somebody defensively. I feel like that's where they feel like that's where they need to build, because offensively they're fine.
Well, Chicago doesn't need a running back.
No, Chicago doesn't need a running back, so that leaves the 49ers. Right? And they need a running back.
Maybe.
And they need a running back.
Yeah, based on yours, I can understand.
Yeah,
I just don't see him following.
No, in yours, it makes sense that he would go to Indy, but I have Indy trading.
Yeah.
Going back.
Let's see. Number 10, Oakland, Minkah Fitzpatrick for me. I think Oakland realizes that they're not going to get Bradley Chubb, of course, and they don't want to invest as much into getting Marcus Davenport in the first round. So they're going to go work on the secondary that was actually pretty subpar last season, and they're like, okay, Minkah's here. Good pick, value pick at 10.
Okay. So number 10.
Number 10.
Well, the Raiders, their defense was not good. Their secondary was not good. So I think they're actually going to end up going and taking Derwin James.
Okay, so we literally just flipped it with Tampa.
Yeah. I think it makes more sense for them to take Derwin James.
Okay, let's see. Number 11. I'm going to go 11 through 13 here. So Miami takes Roquan Smith, linebacker out of Georgia. Their defense is pretty good. I think if they're going to just try to keep reinforcing the defense. Number 12, in the trade with the Bills, remember, they got their 12 and their 22, okay? I think the New York Giants, with the 12th pick, look to the future, go get a quarterback, and get Lamar Jackson, quarterback Louisville. And I think that works well. So sit him behind Eli for a few seasons, develop him. I think he'll be really good for New York. Number 13, Washington. Vita Vea, the nose tackle to Washington, to me, I think he's been in every draft I've had going to the Redskins. Just saying.
Yeah, consistency. No, I think actually your Giants, if the Giants were to trade back, that makes a lot of sense. I think that would be a smart business move for them.
Because they don't like Rosen. Remember that. Because they're not sold on Rosen.
No, that's what we've heard. I think it makes a lot of sense to me that they would end up taking him because he would be able to sit behind Eli for a few years.
I'd say let's hear your 11 through 13.
I don't have 11 through 13.
You didn't? I thought you said you did the top
I
15.
didn't write them down.
Oh,
I started to go and then I stopped.
Okay, cool. Number 14, Green Bay, go and get a defensive end that they're really sold on, Harold Landry. This guy hasn't been talked to as much by like ESPN, but from the tape that I've seen, shout out to Vash Lombardi, of course, providing the great film. I'm really impressed with what I've seen from Harold Landry. He's got good. I think from what I understand, he's good numbers, really good hand motions, very attacking kind of defensive end, and Green Bay is missing a pure edge rusher. I think they go and get him. Number 15, Arizona gets a wide receiver for Sam Bradford to throw to. Calvin Ridley, wide receiver out of Alabama. 16, Baltimore reinforces the offensive line, goes and gets Colton Miller. And a little bit of a reach pick. I think they take Colton Miller, offensive tackle out of UCLA. Stop me if you have any problems.
No, I mean, these all sound like they could make sense.
Let's see. The LA Chargers go out and get a linebacker, Rashawn Evans. I think he's just a stout kind of guy who can
Do they
rush.
need him, though?
It's not necessarily a need. It's more of a
What's available.
It's a reinforcing pick because they have Perryman, who's been okay, but I think they're going to go after him as like the guy who can definitely get towards the quarterback.
I think they can upgrade,
and then just have more depth at that position that works well.
Yeah.
18 Seattle, their offensive line is horrible. And,
Horrendous.
Yeah, one of the worst one of the worst. If it wasn't Russell Wilson's ability to scramble, they'd be terrifyingly bad. They're going to go get Will Hernandez, offensive guard. Dallas goes and replaces Dez Bryant. They go and get Cortland Sutton, wide receiver out of SMU. He's a bigger receiver. Kind of looks like Terrell Owens. I've gotten those kind of comparisons I've gathered from around the community. Number 20, Detroit, They go and get defensive tackle Taven Bryan out of Florida. Cincinnati works in the offensive line. Isaiah Wynn. I think that's a pretty good pick. I like his tape. The New York Giants go get a tight end, Mike Gesicki, tight end out of Penn State. I just think it makes sense. And the surprise pick, if you haven't heard me say his name yet, going to New England, Josh Rosen, quarterback out of UCLA. I think because of what's been said around the media, there's a little bit of discontent with Rosen, and there's not enough. A lot of the teams that need quarterbacks are high. You know what I mean? Yeah. So with Lamar Jackson getting pulled high, I think that Rosen could actually fall this far.
I don't think he's going to fall that far. I think the Cardinals are going to take him.
Yeah, if he's there.
If he falls, I think the Cardinals, they need a quarterback. They really need a quarterback. It would be... I would laugh so hard if they passed up on him. I really would.
Number 24, Carolina takes a cornerback, Josh Jackson out of Iowa. 25, Tennessee takes Leighton Vander Esch. They just need some help linebacking, from what I understand. I like Leighton Vander Esch here. I don't think he's the best linebacker in this draft. Some people really, really like Leighton Vander Esch. I don't know. Atlanta, Deron Payne, nose tackle, just trying to get after that quarterback, stopping the run. New Orleans gets their quarterback of the future, Mason Rudolph, Oklahoma State quarterback. Pittsburgh, Justin Reed, safety out of Stanford. Jacksonville, wide receiver Christian Kirk, Texas A&M. And a class that's not nearly as high receiving-wise. I think it's not as good as past ones, but there's teams that are later that just need receivers and don't want to move that far back.
I was looking at the grades, though, in the first draft, and, there's no great wide receivers. There just aren't.
No.
There's some good ones, but there are, 3 of them that are good.
Watch this be the draft class that produces, 4 wide receiving, Hall of Famers.
Yeah, watch.
Like
that's possible.
Yeah, I really like DJ Moore at Maryland. That's what I've been hearing, is that he's a very, very good prospect.
The draft is...
You never know.
You never know. We're doing
this. It was 07. That was a really bad draft, though.
This could all be wrong. And in fact, this is. Both of our stuff is probably wrong.
Let's see.
Never tell.
Minnesota, they go and get a center, Billy Price, OSU. New England at 31, Mike McGlinchey, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. He's 6'8", big dude. And number 32, Philadelphia gets Darius Geis, running back LSU. I think this pick just makes sense overall. They like the running back position, keep working on the offense. And that is about time. Thank you all so much for listening this week. Next week, like I said at the top of the show, is Sam's latest show. Or
my last show.
Latest and greatest.
Yeah.
The last show. So be sure to tune in before he graduates. I'm telling him to prepare a speech. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no.
I
can't talk.
Here with Shiza Manzour on photography. Thank you very much for the photography. And this has been the Rines Report here on RadioFreeRadford.com. Have a nice rest of your day.